Hi, I'm Chuck Colson with this week's 2-Minute Warning. There's been a lot of alarm in the media lately over political candidates who openly identify themselves as Christians. Words like theocrats and dominionists are bandied about, hinting darkly that Christian politicians are waiting to impose their religion on an unwilling populace. And in Canada, a poll came out recently that showed nearly half of all Canadians believe religion does more harm than it does good. Amazing. As one Anglican priest pointed out, Canadians must have forgotten that the first Canadian hospitals, universities, and schools were founded by religious institutions, specifically by Christian churches. Well, the Canadians aren't the only ones being forgetful. I would wager that you would find very few Americans or journalists who openly worry about theocracy who know or appreciate the fact that Western democracy, as we know it, grew out of the Christian tradition. Most people like to trace modern democracy back to the ancient Greeks. But Greek democracy was for the ruling class only, for land-owning citizens of the city-state. No, it was in the monasteries of Christian Europe during the Middle Ages where we began to find democracy for all, noble and peasant alike. I talk about this in my book, The Faith, which I invite you to read. And as I explain in The Faith, the common moral standards that Christianity engendered in Western culture were crucial for the development of democracy. You see, people have got to be able to govern themselves, to practice self-restraint, before they can rule themselves via an elected government. The concept of the rule of law itself came to us from the Reformation. Samuel Rutherford's great book, Lex Rex, The Law is King, changed the rules. But even beyond modern liberal democracy, think for just a moment how Christianity made Western culture the most humane culture in human history. The belief in the sanctity of life made Christians defender of every individual's dignity. We see men and women as sovereign creatures made in God's image and as bearers of God's image, granted free will by God himself. They enjoy freedom as a right. It's in our nature. That's also, by the way, why the church has always defended the right of private property, another hallmark of the West. But Christians do not exalt the individual at the expense of community. Our Trinitarian God exists in community. So Christians defend the rights of the family, businesses, and voluntary associations to nurture community as only they can, free from governmental control. And that's a principle underscored in the Reformation's concept of sphere sovereignty. So the next time a friend or an acquaintance blithely comments that Christians seek to impose their religion on others, gently remind him or her that we seek no such thing. Rather, we seek to propose, to offer a vision for a humane society, for human flourishing and human dignity. It's a proposal that Western civilization accepted and lived by for ages, and it's a proposal every American who enjoys the blessings of freedom, believer and non-believer alike, has benefited from. I'm Chuck Colson. That's this week's 2-Minute Warning.